Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, February 12th, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Also, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the significant feature map across the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we have a cold front right there across the western portions of the Caribbean, stretching all the way up into the eastern United States. We can also see that we have that high pressure ridge to the north of the Caribbean, sending a lot of easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And to the north of the eastern portion of the main development region, we have a trough. If we actually take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see that cold front that's affecting portions of the eastern United States, and we can see a line of clouds associated with that cold front affecting portions of the Bahamas, Cuba, the western portion of the Caribbean, including Belize, as well as Guatemala and Honduras. We can also see those low-level clouds being pushed from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean by that easterly wind brought about by that high pressure ridge. And we can see the clouds associated with that trough right there to the northwest of Africa. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean later on. Let's focus our attention on what happened across Jamaica today. So a post was made at 3:21 p.m. highlighting some buildup of clouds across sections of southern Jamaica. So Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, maybe Clarendon, Manchester and St. Elizabeth got in on some of those overcast skies and maybe even an isolated shower or two. And we had some commenters confirming the rainfall. One commenter stating sprinklers turned on in Halfway Tree, another saying rain in Duane Park, and another saying overcast in Portmore. If you actually take a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, we can see where we actually had that rainfall. So section of St. Elizabeth, maybe Manchester, section of St. Catherine, as well as portion of St. Andrew got in some amount of rainfall today. We can see that for the temperatures tonight, we have 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that Jamaica is embedded in the clear for the most part on both models. Both the Euro and the GFS are showing 7 a.m. on Monday, and if you look at the key, the clear represents those average temperatures. And what are the average temperatures for the month of February? About 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we look at the equivalent to 86 degrees Fahrenheit on the thermometer, that's about 30 degrees Celsius. So normal temperatures for tomorrow. We can see a lot of dry air on the dry air map across majority of the Caribbean, including Jamaica. All of this dry air is what's going to be prohibiting majority of the moisture or rainfall across the area as expected during the dry season. If you actually take a look at the Saharan dust forecast at 2 p.m. on Monday, you can see that Jamaica is in the blues, we're in the clear. All of the Saharan dust is right there across Africa as well as portions of the main development region. Let's take a look at the seas for tomorrow. We can see that for the most part, anywhere from less than 2 meter wave heights across the island. So it's a perfect day for fishing, for fishers and other marine interests. Why is that? Because we have a little bit of wind tomorrow, not much. And when we have that little bit of wind, considering that we have more of an easterly flow on the south coast, but look at that northerly flow on the north coast. It might be quite the warm day with less wind across the island. And look at that, we have that build up. That darkest blue that represents the buildup of clouds. The least amount of winds across the island are going to be across section of southern Jamaica. So more than likely we're going to have that buildup of clouds across portion of southern Jamaica during the afternoon, bringing some amount of overcast skies and isolated showers, just like what we got today. And with the wind shear coming in from the west, more than likely any form of convection, if we get some in the upper levels of the atmosphere, will be blown off towards the east, bringing some amount of overcast skies to portions of the island. If we actually take a look at the precipitation forecast for 4 p.m. on Monday, we can see some amount of blows across portions of central and western Jamaica, mainly southern Jamaica, on both the Euro and the GFS. And we know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's talk briefly about the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see a lot of clouds coming into sections of Tobago, Trinidad right there, portions of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, portions of French Guiana as well. You can see some clouds coming into sections of the ABC Islands. You can see a lot of passing clouds to the south of Hispaniola and Jamaica. And we can see a lot of clouds pouring into sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, sections of Honduras and Belize. You can also see a lot of clouds across portions of the southern and eastern United States right there associated with that cold front. And if you actually take a look at the Doppler radar images, we can see across the northeastern portion of the Caribbean that we have some amount of greens across the area, maybe some passing shower or two across portion of the northeastern Caribbean, so section of St. Martin, maybe the British Virgin Islands, portion of, let's say, Puerto Rico, but not that much. There's some across portion of Guadeloupe as well, maybe even some across Anguilla, Barbuda, Antigua right there. And if you actually take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see where we have majority of the rainfall to the far south of Barbados, affecting portions of Tobago, maybe even Trinidad getting in on some of that. Not so much in the rough rainfall across Barbados or areas to the north up there are getting a break right now. If you actually take a look at a wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see where that rainfall is across portions of Belize, Honduras, portions of the ABC Islands right there, moving into easterly trades, and we can also see some rainfall across portions of French Guiana right there. If you actually take a look at the temperature forecast for 7 a.m. tomorrow, we can see some blues across portions of Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, and Honduras that represent below average temperatures. Considering that the cold front is right there, it makes sense that they'll be getting a lot of below average temperatures right there. Even portions of the eastern Caribbean might get in on some slight below normal temperatures. The warmest temperatures or the above average temperatures seem to be right there across portions of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, as well as portions of the southern United States. If you actually take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for tomorrow, we can see that majority of the Caribbean is in the clear for 2 p.m. on Monday. Majority of the dust is right there across Africa as well as the main development region. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can expect anywhere from 3 meters or less across majority of the Caribbean, so especially that area to the south of Jamaica, to the north of Panama and Colombia. You can see a lot of high waves right there to the east of the Caribbean as well. Elsewhere, we'll be getting less than 2 meter wave height. And why is that? Because the strongest winds seem to be right there to the east of the Caribbean or to the far south of Jamaica right there. We can see in the yellows that represent anywhere from 25 to 30 knot winds. Lots of winds right there off the eastern United States coast associated with that cold front for tomorrow. Elsewhere, we'll be getting the greens that represent 10 to 20 knot winds. And let's talk about the precipitation forecast for tomorrow. We can see that the Euro is a bit different from what the GFS is showing. The Euro is showing less than 0.25 of an inch of rainfall across portions of the northeastern Caribbean, portions of the Windward Islands as well. But the GFS is a bit more robust, showing up to 0.5 of an inch of rainfall across those very spots. For maybe eastern Puerto Rico, section of Anguilla, St. Martin, Barbuda, Antigua, Montserrat, maybe even the northern portion of Guadeloupe getting in on some of that. Look at the GFS showing more rainfall across portions of the northern coastline of Venezuela, eastern Trinidad and Tobago. So majority of that rainfall could be falling right now, but this map is showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. And we can also see a lot of rainfall right there across portions of Colombia, portions of Panama, even up to an inch of rainfall across portions of Costa Rica and Nicaragua right there. and we have consensus on the Euro model as well. And we know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. If we actually take a look at the western portion of the basin, all of that moisture that we had across portion of the Gulf of Mexico has now taken its leave. Majority of the rainfall is right there across portion of the coastline of Belize, Guatemala, as well as Honduras, even up to 2+ inches of rainfall expected on the Euro model. GFS not so robust with 2 inches, up to an inch of rainfall or a bit higher across the very same spots. So coastal areas of Belize, Guatemala, and Honduras getting in on some of that rainfall. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.